So it seems that India retaliated against Pakistan. I'm still very, very much in the nothing ever happens camp because, well, this has happened before. They have a little fallout, they exchange a bit of gunfire and a few bombings, and then things calm down again, and that's it. But we'll wait and see. What we know about India's strikes on Pakistan and Pakistan administered Kashmir. 2 weeks after a deadly militant attack on tourists in Indian administered Kashmir, India has launched a series of strikes on sites in Pakistan and Pakistan administered Kashmir. The Indian Defence Ministry said the strikes, named Operation Sindoor, were part of a commitment to hold accountable those responsible for the 22nd April attack in Pahalgam, Indian administered Kashmir, which left 25 Indians and one Nepali national dead. Excuse me. But Pakistan, which has denied any involvement in that attack, described the strikes as unprovoked, with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif saying the heinous act of aggression will not go unpunished. Now, there's been a bit of buggery going around about the terrorist group that actually carried out the attack, and people were actually showing pictures of funerals of some of the terrorist groups, and there are members of the Pakistani military there in attendance at the funerals. So India is saying you guys are in cahoots, and Pakistani military is like, not even though their soldiers are present at the funerals of terrorist operatives. So, it's just interesting. Sharif on Wednesday said the Pahalgam attack wasn't related to Pakistan and that his country was accused for the wrong reasons. Pakistan's military said at least 31 people were killed and 57 injured in the strikes on Tuesday night. India's army said at least 15 civilians were killed and 43 injured by Pakistani shelling on its side of the de facto border. Pakistan's military says it shot down 5 Indian aircraft and a drone. India has yet to respond to these claims. Late on Wednesday, Sharif said the Air Force made its defence, which was a reply from our side to them. Where did India hit? Delhi said in the early hours of Wednesday morning at 9 different locations had been targeted in both Pakistan-administered Kashmir and Pakistan. It said these sites were terrorist infrastructure places where attacks were planned and directed. It emphasised that it had not hit any Pakistani military facilities, saying its actions have been focused, measured, and non-escalatory in nature. In the initial aftermath of the attacks, Pakistan said 3 different areas were hit: Muzaffarabad and Kotli in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, and Bahawalpur in the Pakistan province of Punjab. Pakistan's military spokesperson, Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif, later said 6 locations had been hit. Pakistan's Defence Minister Khawaja Asif told GOTV in the early hours of Wednesday that the strikes hit civilian areas, adding that India's claim of targeting terrorist camps was false. Why did India launch the attack? The strikes come after weeks of rising tension between the nuclear armed neighbours over the shooting in the picturesque resort town of Pahalgam. The 22nd April attack by a group of militants saw 26 people killed, with survivors saying the militants were singling out Hindu men. It was the worst attack on civilians in the region in 2 decades and the first major attack on civilians since India revoked Article 370, which gave Kashmir semi-autonomous status in 2019. Following the decision, the region saw protests but also witnessed militancy wane and a huge increase in the number of tourists. The killings have sparked widespread anger in India, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi saying the country would hunt the suspects till the ends of the earth, and those who planned and carried it out will be punished beyond their imagination. However, India initially did not name any group it believed it was behind the attack in Pahalgam. But Indian police alleged that 2 of the attackers were Pakistani nationals, with Delhi accusing Pakistan of supporting militants, a charge Islamabad denies. It says it has nothing to do with the 22nd April attacks. On the 7th of May, Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba militant group carried out the attack. In the 2 weeks since, both sides have taken tit-for-tat measures against each other, including expelling diplomats, suspending visas, and closing border crossings. But many expected it would escalate to some sort of cross-border strike, as seen after the Pulwama attacks, which left 40 Indian paramilitary personnel dead in 2019. Why is Kashmir a flashpoint between India and Pakistan? Oh, we're getting into the deep lore, are we? Okay. Kashmir is claimed in full by India and Pakistan, but administered only in part by each since they were partitioned following the independence from Britain in 1947. The countries have fought 2 wars over it. Again, all we did was draw a line in the ground. We didn't tell you to start killing each other. We drew the line, you both disagreed about where the line should be, and then you started murdering each other over it. That was on you. We were happy with the line the way it was. You were the guys that weren't. But anyway, but more recently, it has been attacked. It has been attacked by militants which have brought the two countries to the brink. Indian administered Kashmir has seen an armed insurgency against Indian rule since 1989, with militants targeting security forces and civilians alike. In 2016, after 19 Indian soldiers were killed in Uri, India launched surgical strikes across the line of control, the de facto border between India and Pakistan, targeting militant bases. In 2019, the Pulwama bombing, which left 40 Indian paramilitary personnel dead, prompted airstrikes deep into Balakot, the first such action inside Pakistan since 1971, sparking retaliatory raids and an aerial dogfight. Neither spiraled, but the wider world remains alert to the danger of what could happen if it did. Attempts have been made by various nations and diplomats around the world to prevent this. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres quickly called for maximum restraint, a sentiment echoed by the European Union and numerous countries, including Bangladesh. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer urged dialogue and de escalation. US President Donald Trump, who was one of the first to respond, told reporters at the White House that he hoped the fighting ends very quickly. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, meanwhile, says he is keeping a close eye on developments. Now, if this war were to is that the end of the article? Just a double check. Yeah. If this war were to kick off, it'd be an absolute shit show, right? India would win by far. If you look at the comparisons between the size, scale, and equipment of the Indian and Pakistan military, it's no contest. India would win. India would absolutely dominate them. However, whenever there is such a war in such a big, massive place, guess what that creates? That creates refugees. And as we all know these days, refugees don't go to their nearest, safest country as they are supposed to do. They come to Britain. They come to Europe and they come to Britain. So basically, if a war kicks off there, it is going to be a shit show. It is going to be an absolute shit show with just all of them coming over here again. We were at capacity a long time ago. We're already not doing very well. So if a war kicks off, that's bad news for us. Also, it's a very, very bad news for children because their mum and dads are absolute idiots and they are going to keep this blood feud up for as long as they possibly can until the other side is wiped out, which means there's going to be a massive war over there and children, as you know, bear the brunt of war. So, yeah, it's going to be a complete shit show. I hope nothing happens, right? I'm still very much in the nothing ever happens camp, and that's not in a, oh, life is boring. No, not that one. I'm in the I hope nothing happens camp because war's bad. Don't like war. Not a fan of war. Don't like people who want to go to war. But still, I'll keep an eye on this and let's hope nothing ever happens.